All right, what is up, Utah fans? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest. And today we are looking at Utah's super exciting running back pickup and transfer from Washington State, Wayshawn Parker. He has been the guy everyone's been talking about, and I am super excited Utah's getting him. He has proven to be a playmaker as a true freshman and really made an impact. I'm excited to dive in. I'm excited to talk about him, guys. Before we do so, smash that like button. That's going to help get the video out to more Utah fans. Also, comment down below, what do you guys think of Wayshawn Parker? Is he an immediate impact guy? Is he immediately the number one running back, or do you have a different opinion? I'd love to hear it. The show is a part of the 1012 Network. 1012 Network. We're sponsored by Charlie Hustle, charliehustle.com. Use code 101215 for 15% off any non-sale items at checkout. Make sure you check that out. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And on that note, let's go ahead and dive in and check out Wayshawn Parker. Okay, guys, and we'll go ahead and start with some highlights of Wayshawn Parker. Let me start it from the top. I'll give some commentary as we go here, but you guys probably already know, very exciting player, big time playmaker. Let's check him out here. So in the backfield there, Wayshawn Parker takes the handoff, cuts it up between, books it to the outside, runs it along the edge, beats the man, beats another man, and takes it into a touchdown. And that is against Texas Tech. That's a P4 opponent and a Big 12 opponent. Which Utah plays in the Big 12. So you like to see him, making guys miss in the Big 12 for huge plays. Really good look there for Wayshawn Parker. Very impressed with the kid. This is against Portland State, but it shows off some of his receiving chops. Nice catch there. The quarterback actually threw that quite a ways behind him. That should have just been a walk-in touchdown with very little effort. A little dump off out of the backfield, breaks the tackle. This is in the spring game for Washington State. Makes a bunch of guys miss. Takes it upfield. Very nice play and a touchdown. In real life, he might have gotten tackled if it wasn't the spring game, but still, very nice play. All right, a handoff up the gut, goes between two guys, makes a couple guys miss. Portland State here, but still, very nice play. Takes it, breaking tackles, and goes for a touchdown. Now, just my thoughts on him. There are actually other plays that are not showing on this highlight reel. This is just the first one I could find. But he is a very fluid mover. One thing you'll see on this highlight, and you'll see it on many others, is that he is very much a dynamic player. And for a freshman running back, he looked so comfortable. That's very often why running backs do not translate from high school to college or college to pro, is they're not yet comfortable with the speed of the game, or they have not yet changed how they run. Right, you got to just own it. Right, you can't be thinking I'm going to keep getting better and keep getting better. It's like, no, just be fluid, go do it. And you can tell he is not nervous when he's out there. He's making plays. And so just giving you guys a taste, we're going to dive into the analytics of what he did last year and why he is such an exciting pickup. But I wanted you guys to see some film there and get an idea of just how special of a player we're getting in Wayshawn Parker. All right, guys, so let's take a look at the game log here. And I want to just remind you guys what is most impressive about Wayshawn Parker is he was a freshman doing this at Washington State. Not the hardest schedule in the world, but a decent schedule. And he did this as a freshman. Just keep that in mind. So Portland, 79.7, one of his best grades of the year, but not against a very good team. But then Texas Tech, Washington, I think this is the most impressive one, is that against Washington, he had a 69.4 grade. And then he 53 yards after contact, 4.9 yards per attempt. Very exciting, very special game there. So 49 yards, 10 carries. San Jose State, 3.4 yards per attempt, so not too great there. We go down a little ways, guys. Utah State, very special game. He goes for 13.5 yards per carry, 149 rushing yards, 83.5 PFF grade in that game. New Mexico, where our offensive coordinator is from, and that's probably where he became so impressed with him. 11 carries, 47 yards. Oregon State, a big rival for Washington State. He goes for 5.3 yards. And again, guys, he averages 3.43 yards after contact. He did not have some special offensive line opening up huge holes for him. You could tell on the tape, he is making people miss. He is breaking tackles and he is creating plays, not only taking advantage of what's there. You look at it here on the season, guys, 136 attempts for 731 yards is 5.4 yards per attempt for 4 touchdowns. Again, yards after contact was more than half of his yards. Yards after contact was 467 yards. Super, super special freshman season. And then we look here, guys, is where it gets very impressive. For plays where he had 10 plus yards, he had 20 gains of 10 plus yards as a freshman, which means in a 12-game season, you're nearly getting 10 plus yard carries each game. In some of those games, he had quite a bit more than that. And then this is even more special. 15 plus yard carries. He had 9 of them. So almost every game he had a 15 plus yard carry. And a 15 plus yard carry, guys, that is like a game breaking play or a drive making play, right? You can flip the field with a 15 plus yard carry. So if we could get him to do, one of those a game, that's a big win. He also had 108 receiving yards, so nearly 800 nearly 850 total yards from scrimmage. So very, very impressive. Great player in Wayshawn Parker here. I want to pull up some other numbers as well to give you guys some context on how impressive this is that he's doing this as a freshman. But here are the numbers, is what he looked like. And, great numbers for a freshman. One other thing to point out, let's see, is it here? Only 1 fumble on 136 carries. So good luck there. Okay, guys. So final look at Wayshawn Parker. One thing I do want to mention is, of the Washington State running backs that got more than 10 carries, the other 2 running backs averaged 4.7 and 3.5 yards. And between them, they got almost 100 carries, 92 carries. And you average that between the 2 of them, that's about 4.1 yards per carry, I believe. And Wayshawn was able to get 5.4 yards per carry, according to PFF. And the reason that's impressive is, you only are able to do with what you're given, right? You're only able to do so much with what you're given. And if the offensive line isn't making huge holes, stuff like that, but he was averaging almost a yard more than the other running backs in the room at the same situation. And I think that's really promising because he's going to go into an offense with Jason Beck that throws the ball downfield, is very effective in finding creative ways to get running backs in the open field. And I think he'll thrive in it. On top of that, he'll be going from freshman year to sophomore year and should grow in the role and look a little more experienced. And he'll have the same running back coach to keep coaching him up and telling him what to do. There's so much continuity in the movement we're seeing right now. And I'm very excited for Wayshawn Parker to be a part of this team. And I'm excited to see just how big of an impact he can have on this Utah offense. Smash the like button before we get out of here. I'm going to give you guys my final take on the low, middle, and high for Wayshawn Parker. Before I do so, though, comment down below. What do you guys think? What do you expect Wayshawn Parker to do this year? What's kind of the ceiling? What's the floor? Obviously, the floor is always 0 and the ceiling is always 1,000,000 yards, but you guys know what I'm talking about, just realistically. I'm going to tell you guys, so with Wayshawn Parker, I think this is what I would expect. So I think there's a chance that this guy gets less yards per carry than he did this year. I don't think it'll be significantly less, but let's imagine he goes from 5.4 to more like somewhere between that and 4. So 5.4. I'm going to say 4.7, which is still very respectable, but not crazy. And then he is going to go into a running back room that has some talent, right? And then the quarterback runs a lot. The offense runs a lot in general, but it is a room where they spread the ball out. So let's imagine how many yards or how many attempts per game? Let's say 15, right? We can feed the guy 15 times per game. So that would be 70.5 rushing yards per game, times that by 12. That would put him at 846 yards. I would also imagine we'll have a decent touchdown percentage. So my guess would be 846 yards. as the high, right? That's things going really well. 12 games, 15 yards per game, 4.7 yards per carry. You add in the receiving game there, maybe he's more at about 1,000 total scrimmage yards. I think that's a good guess for the high for the guy. Low wise, let's imagine he's more in the 4 yards per game. Maybe, it could be a little crowded in the running back room. And then he's getting, let's imagine 10 carries per game that put him at 40. You multiply that by 12, that's 480 yards. Again, this isn't counting any bowl games. But 480 yards, 4 yards a game wouldn't be a bad year. So let's say kind of in the more middle area, I'd imagine, let's say 4.5 yards per game at 13 carries per game times 12 games. 700 yards. I think that's kind of where I'd put it. Low end, 400 to 500 yards. Middle, 700 yards. The high end, like a 900 to 1,000 yard rusher. I think that's about right. And I think the math showed that as well. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you guys weren't around this morning, we're decking the halls with videos today. So if you're watching this video and you haven't watched the videos from earlier today, go watch them, but also subscribe and hit the notification bell. There's a lot more videos to come this afternoon and this evening, so make sure you guys stick around. I am out of here. Hit the notification bell, and I am out of here. Go Utes.